Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm in Gantrisch Nature Park, a mountain region located roughly 45 minutes from Thun. I started today's hike from the Wasserscheide area near Gantrisch, one of the main starting points for hikes in this region, and also the access point for the famous Gantrisch Via Ferrata. But today's route is something different. I'll be heading towards Chrummenfadenflue, a much more alpine and technical hike marked as T5 difficulty. Unlike normal mountain trails, routes like this involve exposed terrain, narrow ridges, hands-on scrambling, and sections where you need to stay fully focused on every step. This is no longer just hiking, especially once the terrain starts steepening near the ridge sections. So let's get moving and see what this mountain has to offer. Right now I'm making my way up to Leiterenpass. From the parking area, it takes about 50 minutes to get here. If you're heading to Gantrisch, you'll pass through this saddle as well, since it's a common junction for several routes in the area. From here, though, I leave the main trail and turn left. For the first time, I get a clear view of my objective, a long, rugged ridge stretching across the mountainside. From a distance, it already looks far more serious than the trails below, and it's easy to see why this route is rated as an alpine hike. I'm here in early June, and at this elevation, spring is only just beginning to take hold. The mountain meadows are starting to come alive, alpine flowers are coming into bloom, and after the winter, the landscape is slowly waking up again. Let's take a moment to look at who this hike is actually suitable for. The route to Chrummenfadenflue is rated T5 on the Swiss Alpine Club hiking scale, which places it among the most demanding marked hiking routes in Switzerland. At this level, you're no longer dealing with a typical mountain trail. What makes this hike particularly interesting is its ridge traverse. The mountain isn't a single summit, but a chain of several high points connected by a narrow ridge, with steep slopes dropping away on both sides. This is not a hike I would recommend as a first alpine trail. The technical difficulties are never constant, but when they appear, they demand full attention. The exposure is real, and there are sections where you'll be using both hands as much as your feet. For hikers who are comfortable in this type of terrain, Chrummenfadenflue offers something quite special. Instead of following a path to a single viewpoint, you're moving along the mountain itself, spending much of the day directly on the ridge with open views stretching across the Gantrisch region and the Bernese Alps. We've got a beautiful sunny day ahead of us, so let's make the most of it. The ridge itself isn't particularly long. In fact, the entire traverse only takes around 2 to 2.5 hours. But on terrain like this, distance doesn't really matter. Progress is slower, every section is a little different, and your attention stays focused on the ridge almost the entire time. So while the route isn't long, it certainly keeps things interesting from start to finish. From here, you can really see the true character of this ridge. It's sharp, exposed on both sides, and the T5 rating feels completely justified. The route constantly alternates between grassy ridge sections and short scrambling passages. None of the climbing moves are particularly long, and the rock is generally solid with good grip, which makes the terrain feel more secure than it might appear from a distance. In several places, the more difficult obstacles can also be bypassed. Faint paths are often visible beside the ridge, allowing hikers to choose a slightly easier line while still staying on the route. This ridge is a real gem, and despite its technical nature, it can easily be completed in a single morning. This is my second time here, and once again, I've only come across a handful of people along the entire route. The sharp, exposed ridge naturally commands respect, but at the same time, it remains surprisingly overlooked. What makes that even more interesting is the fact that Chrummenfadenflue is clearly visible from the Thun area, yet many hikers don't even know it exists. Most visitors who come to this part of Gantrisch Nature Park head for the Gantrisch summit, while others are drawn to the nearby Gantrisch Via Ferrata, a challenging K4 route that follows the steep rock face of the mountain and offers a completely different kind of adventure. I can definitely recommend that route as well for those with the right experience. And if you're planning a visit to Gantrisch Nature Park, combining the ridge hike with the Via Ferrata is a great way to turn it into a full day in the mountains. For me, though, it's routes like this that make the area special. A narrow alpine ridge, very few people, and several hours of engaging terrain in one of the most accessible mountain regions in Switzerland. Ahead of me is the summit of Chrummenfadenflue. The sharp ridge is now behind me, but the final section still demands full attention. The approach to the summit includes a short protected passage with a chain fixed directly into the rock to help hikers through one of the steeper sections. What's interesting is that along the entire ridge there are only a few artificial aids like this. For the most part, you're relying on the terrain itself, your footing, and your route-finding skills. Another thing worth mentioning is that this is not a signposted hiking route in the traditional sense. You won't find the usual mountain trail markings guiding you from point to point. Fortunately, the paths are generally well worn and easy to follow in good visibility, but it definitely adds to the feeling that you're moving through more serious alpine terrain rather than on a standard hiking trail. But enough talking. The views up here speak for themselves. On one side, you can look out across Thun and the surrounding towns, villages, and farmland spread across the valley floor far below. On the other side, the landscape rises sharply into the rugged peaks of the Bernese Alps, creating a completely different scene. It's not often that you get such a clear contrast from a single viewpoint, rolling lowlands in one direction and high alpine mountains in the other. Simply beautiful. For the way back, I'm choosing the direct route down towards Leiterenpass. Even though the ridge traverse is behind me, the difficulty doesn't drop off immediately. The trail continues through steep and exposed terrain, and the T5 character of the route remains very much present. There are still a few sections where you need to watch every step and stay focused on the terrain ahead. Ahead of me rises another striking peak that is impossible to miss from the very start of the hike. From the parking area, it dominates the skyline and immediately catches your attention. This is Nünenenflue. While the route I've just completed is already a serious alpine hike, Nünenenflue takes things a step further. The mountain is known for its long, exposed, steep rock faces and climbing sections that push it into true T6 terrain. And with this beautifully flower-covered meadow beneath Nünenenflue, it's time to wrap up today's hike. I still have around 30 minutes of walking left to reach the parking area, but the most interesting part of the day is now behind me. Thank you for joining me on this adventure through Gantrisch Nature Park. I hope you enjoyed the route as much as I did, and as always, I'll see you again on the next one.